find a comfortable seat, whatever that means to you. Sukhasana, if you like sitting with it in a crisscross seat. You could sit in a chair, you could sit at the edge of your bed, anything that lets you just kind of sit so that you can just take a moment to sit up nice and tall, close your eyes down if that feels like a nice way to go. And just give your mind, give your body a second to just come to your mat. As you start to settle in and you just give your body a little time to kind of settle in and let your mind slow down just a little bit, see if you can just tune in right away and just notice the natural rhythm of your breath. So no need to force or change your breath, but just notice your inhalation and notice your exhalation. And then just kind of notice if your mind is still racing from your day so far. Give it a little bit of time to settle in. Maybe tune in and notice the sounds around you, the sounds of the room that you're working in. Maybe you'll hear some sounds beyond the walls of the room that you're in. And then as you hear those sounds around you, see if you can bring that listening sense a little closer to home and just notice the sound of your breath, which may be really quiet and really subtle. So tune in and see if you can just hear the sound of your breath. And then just sticking with that awareness of breath, take your left hand, reach over and across, grab a nice handhold in the side of your ribs, and then just take about 3 nice deep breaths here and just see if you can feel the physical action of breath underneath your hand. And then if it feels good to do so, switch hands, take it over to the other side, get a hold of your ribs, close your eyes down if that feels available, and then just take 3 nice deep breaths here. And then you can either stick with that and just tune into that movement of breath there, or bring one hand to the belly, one hand to the heart. Eyes closed or open, that'll be totally up to you, but then just come back to that physical awareness of breath in your body, noticing your inhalation, noticing the movement from your exhalation. And then before we move away from this place of stillness, take a moment here to set an intention to honor your mind and your body throughout your practice, never doing anything that would cause your body pain, and treating yourself with love, care, and respect. With that intention set, we're going to take it into a half butterfly, half wide leg seat. So swing one leg out, keep one leg in. So we're going to keep our hips facing forward, but the legs are going to be slightly externally rotated. So we've got a little bit of a half butterfly situation, half wide leg situation, and we're going to walk it right into a fold. So fold yourself forward in a depth that works good for you. Here's a place where if you like to use a prop, a stack of pillows, even a yoga block, just to kind of bring the floor up to meet you might be a nice way to go. But fold yourself into a position that feels good to you. And then also the variation of your legs is just going to be whatever feels the most comfortable. So your legs don't need to look as wide as mine. They need to look like a comfortable position for what feels right in your body. And then once you've got your way into a fold that feels reasonable, take a moment here to just come back to your breath. Just notice your inhalation and notice your exhalation. So with that idea that first pose is sometimes the hardest because it's hard to get your mind to slow down and let your body soften right away. So if you can tune in for a moment and just notice your physical body, specifically inner thigh, outer edge of your hip and your foot, notice if there's any place that you're trying to control, hold in a specific place or hold tension. Can you allow your legs to soften? Can you allow your feet to be soft? Take one more breath here. And then slowly bring yourself up and out, but we're going to keep our legs as they are. So we're going to walk ourselves up and out of that fold and then take it right into a side bend. So for some of us, elbow to the inner thigh is going to be the way that goes. So that leg that's extended out long, elbow to the inner thigh, top hand is going to reach up. You can also use a block or something to help support. So you can take a side bend and use your block to kind of bring the floor up to meet you. If you're super bendy or you've got a lot of reach, maybe your arms are really long, you might choose to go all the way down and grab hold of your big toe. So the elbow is still going to come to the inside, but then the top hand's going to reach up. So you're going to choose a variation that feels sustainable. You want to be able to hold this position for about 3 minutes. So whatever option you choose, elbow to the inner thigh, arm up in the air, elbow to a block, arm up in the air, or maybe a softer position and you just tuck that hand behind your back. Sometimes holding that arm up can be the most fatiguing part of this position. So find the variation of shape that feels sustainable. And then once you're there, just see if you can soften. And then the side that's bending open, so feeling that opening in the side of the ribs, that's where we're going to keep drawing our attention back to. So if paying attention to your arm is too fatiguing, tuck that hand behind so it's up and out of the way. And then once you've got a position that feels good to you, just let your awareness come to the side of the ribs that's getting that side bend, and then see if you can just tune back in and notice the physical movement of breath in your body. So when we do our Yin Yoga practice, we come into the practice hopefully with a colder body, so we don't warm up, we don't warm the muscles up, because we're shooting to find that connective tissue, the ligaments, the joints, and the plastic tissue. So in this particular position, when we're getting into that side bend, we're shooting to find that deep work in that low back side body. So quadratus lumborum, that's where we're going for. So think about where your side body is, wrap your hand just around and find that low back side body area. And that is hopefully, if you can tune in and notice that area, if you can relax the muscles in that area, that's where we want to see if we can find some work going on. So if your mind starts to wander, and sometimes it's the mind that wants you to pull out of a pose for faster than anything, let your mind and awareness come back to your rib cage and then draw that line down to the low back side body. Take one more breath. And then when you're ready, come up nice and slow. Gently release that arm. If you kept it up and overhead, you might want to shrug that shoulder out a little bit, wiggle your side a little bit, but not too much. We want to still keep the body fairly cold so that we can take it to the other side. So when you feel ready, swing your legs out so the other leg is going to come to that bent position. So we're back to that half butterfly, half wide leg, and right into the fold. So walk yourself out to a depth, and don't worry, some side variations might occur, so you don't have to go as far into the fold if it feels like it's not the depth you want to go to. So find the folded position that feels good to you, and then once you're there, invite that sense of stillness back in. Soften your inner thighs, soften the muscles around your knees. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly walk yourself back up out of that fold. And then we're going to take it right into that revolve head to knee pose. So elbow to the inner thigh, arm up and overhead, hand to the big toe, elbow to the inside, arm up and overhead, or use your block to help support, arm up and overhead, or tuck the hand behind. You choose the variation that feels the most sustainable to you, finding some softness right away. So once you're there, see if you can start by just paying attention to the movement of breath in your ribs. So, and I say we find stillness. There's never perfect stillness in the body. You're always breathing. The organs are always doing work. So if your mind needs that place to focus on the breath, either by paying attention to the physical action of breath in your body or just naming the inhalation and naming your exhalation. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, come out nice and slow. So if that arm was up and overhead, take a second to release that first, maybe shrug it out, maybe wiggle your sides just a little bit, and then bring everything into a little bit of gentle movement. Swing your legs in, rock your knees a little side to side. We're gonna spin around, starting through a tabletop position, but we're gonna find our way into a little bit of a toe stretch and wrist stretch. So you're gonna choose if you want to go both or if you're gonna just go with one. So you'll choose whichever you think might be the most sustainable, but we're only gonna be there for 2 minutes. So start by bringing your knees slightly wider in your tabletop position. Then we're gonna swing the toes in just slightly. So if you look through your legs, you could see your toes slightly brought in. Curl your toes under, push your butt back towards your heels. And then you're gonna see where your feet are at tonight. If your feet are feeling really tender, if your toes are sore, or if you've got any like flare up of plantar fasciitis, you might choose to leave the foot part off and then see how it feels to now take it up into the wrist. So we're gonna rotate the fingertips. So fingertips are rotated towards the inner thighs or the knees and press the palms down. So now we're getting a toe stretch and a wrist stretch. So if one is just a little too much, you're gonna just pick one or the other. Once you've got your way into a position that feels good, wrist stretch and toe stretch, or just one or the other, then see where can you soften. Can you relax your feet a little bit? Can you soften your fingers? Let your awareness come back to your breath. Notice your inhalation. If you're not breathing with soft, smooth inhalation and exhaling nice and slow, you might be a little bit too deep into the pose. So if you need to lighten up, it'll show up in your breath. We've already been here for 1 minute, so if you need to release anything, feel free to take the time to do so. Or if you're happy where you are, keep with that stillness, noticing your breath. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, start by releasing your wrists. If your wrists were turned around, give your wrists a little twirl. And then once you feel like you've kind of wiggled out your wrists just enough, lift yourself up away from your heels, lift your toes, wiggle your ankles. Now from here, we're going to move right into our low lunge. So right foot's going to step forward, and then you're going to find a lunge that feels sustainable to you. You might be a little bit more upright. You might use a chair or your bed frame to help support this, or you might choose to take it onto your backside and take it into a half happy baby. You're going to find a level of a lunge that feels good and sustainable to you. We've got 3 minutes on the clock, so you're going to hold this in a stable position best you can. What your lunge looks like is what feels good to you. So that's going to look different than on my body and anybody else in the room. So just take the time to find the position that feels good to you. And then once you're there, invite some softness in. We have about 30 seconds left, but I'm going to talk you through where we're going next. That way, if in case you're on your backside and you took the half happy baby, you might choose to come out and flip over onto the front side so that we get to the next posture. Because we're going to stick with the right side. We're going to work through 2 more poses before we hit the lunge on the other side. So hang on to this lunge for just 1 more cycle of breath. If you're on your backside in that half happy baby, take a second to flip on around, come up into a lunging position, and then we're going to take it right back into half split. So we're going to pull the butt back keep the right leg out in front of you, and we're going to keep a micro bend in that knee so that we're not yanking too much against the hamstring, so you're feeling it up into your glutes. If you're feeling sensation up into your glutes, bend your knee even more. And then we're just in that half splits position. So here's a place where you can use your yoga block to help support. You can bring it even a little bit closer to you. So any variation there, what we're shooting for is to feel a stretch in the back of the leg and the hamstring specifically. We want to feel that sensation through the medius part of the back of the thigh. And then once you're feeling like you're there, soften your foot, soften your kneecap. So we're not locking the knee in or anything like that. Everything is going to try and stay as soft as it can. If you feel like you're not getting quite enough sensation at this point, and you feel like you've created some length in the back of that hamstring muscle and you want more sensation, you're just going to lean your chest a little closer to your thigh. Hopefully you'll find some sensation there. If you're like, whoa, I've already had plenty of sensation, thank you very much, and you want to dial it back, then you'll just walk yourself up a little taller. It does create a little bit more support necessary in the upper body to stay off of that leaned in position, but just give yourself what your body needs here. Take one more breath. And then rock yourself gently forward into a little bit of a lunge position. But now from here, we're going to swing that leg back and move right into extended child's pose, but we're going to thread our arm through and underneath. So big toes together, knees nice and wide. Bring your butt back to your heels, and we're just going right arm this time. And then when we come back around on the other side of things, we'll get the other arm. So left arm is going to extend out in front of you. Right hand is going to thread through, but we're going to keep the spine as straight as we can. So you want to think of this as that arm across the chest maneuver, but with that extended child's pose. So knees wide, thread that right hand through, soften your chest down, but keep your spine as straight as you can. So it's not a twist, it's just the arm threaded through. And then you can wiggle that arm around so that it's arranged in a way that feels comfortable. Soften your forehead down, soften your butt and your backs of your legs best you can. Take one more breath here. And then slowly start to come out. So lift your butt slightly away from your heels so you can slide that right arm out and then pull yourself up to a tabletop position. Walk your knees in. We're going to take 3 little cat-cows here just to kind of soothe some things out. So inhale and drop your belly, lift your chest, lift your tail. Exhale and round your back. Inhale as you drop your belly. Exhale to round your back. Take one more cycle through. Awesome. And then when you're ready, we're going to set up to our lunge to the other side. So left foot's going to step forward. Right leg is going to walk back to any depth that feels good to you, which might be a 90-90 lunge. You might choose to stay in that more upright position. And then you'll just draw the tailbone down. What we want to achieve is a stretch to that front pocket area. But you can find it in that 90-90 lunge. You don't have to go deep into that crazy yoga lunge if you don't want to go there. You go back to a depth that works good for you. Settle into that position, and then once you're there, come back to that breath awareness. Just notice your inhalation and notice your exhalation. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, right away, bring it back to that half split. So pull your hips back, peel the front toes up, keep that left knee bent so that you're not pulling too much against that connective insertion point where the hamstrings come into the glutes. So we just want to make sure that we're not feeling some big zinging shooting pain up into your butt. The only pain in the butt around here is me. So find that half split position, keep the left knee bent, soften your heart towards your thigh, and then support this in any way that works good for you. You always have the option to bring your yoga block in, help support, bring a chair in to help support, anything that might get you there that feels like a comfortable position to be in. If you feel like you've lost sensation and you need a little bit more, you can always drop your heart a little closer to your thighs. If you feel like you've got plenty of sensation and you're good, thank you very much. You can even bend the knee forward just a little bit and bring the torso a little bit more upright. So you can ease out of that position in any way that feels appropriate. But if you're happy just as you are, we've got about 50 seconds left. So you got this. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, bring yourself forward, bend that front knee, bring a couple little rocks forward and back just to kind of soothe everything out. Move your hips a little bit, move your knee a little bit. And then when you're ready, we're going to slide that leg back and go right back to that extended child's pose. So big toes together, knees to the outer edges of your mat. Right hand is going to extend forward this time. Left hand is going to thread through and underneath. So we're going to find that same position, but now just on the other side. So your butt's going to come back towards your heels. That left arm is going to be threaded through. You'll wiggle it around so it feels like a good, comfortable position, but we're going to try to keep the spine fairly straight. Forehead softens down. Once you've got your way there, come back to your breath. Just notice your inhalation and notice your exhalation. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly start to lift yourself up. Slide that left hand out, float back up into your tabletop position and take 3 cat-cows again. Inhale as you drop your belly. Exhale as you round your back. Just invite some gentle movement in. moving some things around that may have come unloose as you come out of that pose. Awesome. And then when you feel ready, once you've got those things kind of worked out, we're going to swing our legs around, sit right onto your butt, and we're going to take it right into our fire log stack of legs. So one leg on bottom, one leg on top. We're going to go ankle to knee, ankle to knee. So you're going to get yourself arranged. If this feels like an inaccessible posture for you and your knees are like, no, thank you, and your hips like, no, thank you, then it's just going to be a single leg and you're just going to take it into a figure four there and you'll lean forward to a depth that feels good. But if it feels okay and it's comfortable to be in that stack, which can be a lot, this is one of my favorites because it really does get me in my hips, but it can be sensational. So once you've got your legs stacked, lean yourself forward to a depth that works good for you. It does not need to be an extreme fold. You might find sensation pretty much right away. You're thinking the leg that's on top, that's probably where you'll feel the most sensation into that, deep into the glutes and the side of the hip. So that might be where you find it first. If you feel anything funky going on with your knees, start by flexing your feet so you keep them slightly solid. If you get there and none of that is working for you, then just take it into that half figure four position so that you keep your knees happy. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, if you're folded over slightly, lift yourself on up. If you're in that half figure four, release that leg. We're going to release both legs, take a couple little windshield wipers, just a little bit of light movement, just to kind of smooth some things around. But then once you feel ready, we're going to move right on to the other side. So if you're going that half figure four position, one leg is extended, one leg is bent, and you'll fold yourself forward there. If you're going for that double stack, then you're going to go ankle to knee, get your legs arranged in a way that feels good. Right away, check in. If you need to keep your feet flexed so that the knees feel solid, do that. But if it feels better to take that half figure four, do that. So make sure that you stay safe in your knees. Whatever variation you've opted for, find your edge there. So if you're folding forward, just fold to a depth that feels good, finding sensation, hopefully deep in the glutes, outer edge of the hip, no sensation in the knees. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly bring yourself up and out. So if you're folded over, lift yourself up. If your legs are still stacked, go ahead and release them. Pop out your knees, wiggle out your ankles, swish your knees around. Do any bit of movement here that kind of feels good, smooths everything out. Make sure your knees feel good, your ankles feel good. And then when you feel like you've kind of worked all those little wiggles out, we're going to come down onto our back. Take a little bit of gentle movement before we find our way to our Shavasana. So come down onto your back, take your time. Once you feel like you're down, pick your knees up into a nice little reverse tabletop position. Arms are going to come out nice and wide. We're going to take it into a little twist. So knees are going to drop over to the right. Let them come all the way down. Take your time nice and slow. And then once you're there, if it feels good, right hand to the outside of the thigh, push your thighs down. Drop your left shoulder down, turn your head to the left. So head is turned in the opposite direction of the knees, and take about 3 nice deep breaths here. If your hand is on top of the thighs, go ahead and release it. Turn your head back to center. Pull those knees to center. Bring them into your chest. Give yourself a light little squeeze, and then release your legs back to that tabletop position, and then drop them over to the other side. So we're going to bring those knees down to the left. Right shoulder is going to drop down towards the ground. Left hand to the outsides of the thighs. Push the thighs down. Turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees, and take about 3 nice deep breaths here. When you feel ready, turn your head back to center, release your hand from your thighs, float those legs back up, pull the knees into your chest, give yourself a light little squeeze, maybe a light rock side to side. Awesome. And then we're going to take our knees and draw butterfly circles. So we're going to circle them out and away from each other, up towards the ceiling. Some big movement into the hips, circling your knees around. And then when you feel ready, reverse directions, go the other way. Or just keep them going in the same direction. Doesn't matter, as long as you're getting that big movement in the thigh bone, in the hip socket. You might notice your pelvis or your hips moving a little bit, rocking on the ground. Take a few more circles around, and then once you feel like you're ready, start to find your way towards your Shavasana. You can pause along the way, see how constructive rest feels, see how reclined butterfly feels. Ask yourself, where would be your best Shavasana, and then start to walk your body in that direction. Once you've got your body in a place that you think you want to be, take a second to kind of work out all those little wiggles. Make sure your clothes feels comfortable, your hair's in a good place, and then give just a little bit of time to let your body settle into that shape. You always have the option to stay in your Shavasana just as long as you like. But if you feel called to do so and you're ready to start to reawaken, gently wake up your fingers, gently wake up your toes, maybe rock your head a little side to side, invite some gentle movement into your limbs, deepen your breath. If it feels great to do so, take it into a big good morning stretch like a yawn, arms up and overhead, legs nice and long. Bring a little reach into your body. Reach through your fingers, reach through your toes. Take a nice big breath. And then when you feel ready, slowly and mindfully find your way up to a comfortable seated position. Sukhasana, if that feels like a way to go, we just want a little access to the eyebrows, the eyes, and the jawline. So if you're wearing glasses, take a second to place them somewhere safe. We're going to use our thumbs, and either you're going to find the peak edges of your eyebrows to the inside where the eyebrows meet the third eye center, or you'll go slightly under the ridge of the brow. So one of those two pressure points, one might feel a little better than the other two, so you'll just choose the one that you like best. I like the one at the peak of my eyebrows. So you're going to find that little pressure point, whether it's there or right underneath that ridge of your eyebrow. And then you're just going to lean your head forward. So you're going to let your head rest on your thumbs. We're not cramming our thumbs into our eyebrows, but just allow the weight of your head to rest on your thumbs. Once you're there, if it feels available, you're going to draw tiny little micro circles with your thumbs. Circle in one direction. Circle the other way. And then lift the weight of your head away from your thumbs just slightly. Press gently into your thumbs. Push your thumbs down and out to the edges of your eyebrows and then to the temples. And then once you hit your temples, give your temples a gentle rub. Be mindful of your pressure there. And then we're going to take our thumbs and draw circles. So find where the jaw and the ears meet. Draw some circles and then start to work your way down the jawline, circling all the way down. If you find any points that are like, oh, there's a little tension there, maybe you pause for a moment, but then when you feel ready, find your way all the way down to your chin, and then bring your prayer hands together at heart center in Anjali Mudra. And bow your head to your heart. Breathing in love and gratitude for yourself, for your mind, for your body, and for all of your hard work. Breathe in a little extra love and gratitude that you can carry with you through the rest of your night and share with everyone you see. When you feel ready, gently lift up through the top of your head, gently open your eyes. I bow to you. Happy Monday. You guys are amazing.